it together. Yeah, I'm not used to thinking. So in honor of the January Basho, right now there's a sumo tournament going on, and one of my favorite wrestlers, Wakatakakage, is doing all right. And so I thought I'd do the Wakatakakage shirt. It's a 2-color print, and I thought it'd be fun to just outline how I do a 2-color print. Here's sort of going to start with the registration, and here's kind of the main view of the bulk of the art. This is going to be the black ink, and this is going to be a 2-color print. So we're going to be, each print has to have each color has its own screen, and even though I'm going to be putting down the blue ink first, I like to do the registration to match up the screens. I start with the largest of the artworks first, and this one is will be the Wakatakakage, the one with the most of the artwork. I find it's easiest to line up from there, and just gonna start getting going. So to register each screen so the colors all line up, there are different ways of doing this. With my setup, I usually will just roughly put the large artwork first, and then use the original artwork actually on the screen, and then line up the screens to this as my way of doing the registration. Basically, on my platen, I've got some pre-drawn lines of the center, kind of help me kind of figure out where the shirt goes and to help line things up. And I have the artwork where I want it to go for the shirts, and so I have to manually line these up. And so it's kind of brute force and by hand, and just basically have to line up, match the printed screen with the artwork there, and then lock it into place. It's this setup does not have what's called micro registration, so sometimes it's hard to do a lot of the very fine millimeter time adjustment, and so a lot of my designs are designed so that you don't need those fine tolerances, so there can be a little bit of some mismatch. But basically what I'm doing is matching up the artwork so it lines up completely, and then I don't know if you can see, I'll try to zoom out a sec here, and then basically using these bolts to tighten it down in place. And we go back here, I'll take another look at some of the finer details of but it's actually pretty brute force, and just
Future me is realizing that I didn't do a great job showing exactly what's going on. It's zoomed in a little too close. Basically, the screen is tightened just enough so I can move it around a little bit, but most of what I'm doing is moving that whole screen a couple millimeters at a time to really match up the artwork so it lines up. Because I'm focusing on the artwork itself, but the registration marks at the top and also on the bottom, those little square looking things, also help out with the alignment. It's actually a pretty tedious process, and takes sometimes much longer than I'd like.
So this next screen actually is going to have all the blue ink. Actually print that, bring this down, kind of the same process but different artwork. It's kind of way off here. Really in this design, the only piece that's really super important is making sure that the blue color of the mawashi that's here is inside the lines. The other piece can be off a little bit more, but the crux of this particular print is going to be getting that piece lined up. And I've got registration marks up here that kind of get me started, that I line up, and down there. But the real key is making sure that this area is going to be within the lines of the black ink. Okay, that's the registration. And then next part will be the actual print. To get a little extra lint off. I also notice this little orange here, a bit of orange. I use a little bit of beforehand. For some reason I have a difficult time putting them on centered, so I mark the center with a little bit of tailor's chalk. It washes off, but most people with any sense of dexterity don't need to do that, but you know, here we are. Alright, so let's start with the blue layer, and we'll get this print done. Okay, really solid. Just do the drying and we'll bring the next layer on. Just want to make sure it's dry to the touch. Okay, and there we are. We have the print. Strictly speaking, you don't have to dry this afterwards, but just I don't have a dryer. Anyway, I do it so that as I'm moving it off, I don't smudge anything. And then here we go, Wakatakakage. If there's any other specifics you'd like me to put into another video, who am I kidding? No one's gonna watch these videos, but I feel like I have to say that. Yeah, so if there are any topics when I see other parts of the process, please let me know. Thanks for watching.